Hi there, welcome to this week's episode of The Heart of a Youth Leader. Great to have you along again and for your company, thank you. Hope you're doing well. My name's Andy Castle, founder and CEO of Thrive Youth Ministries. Now, we live in an incredibly busy time, don't we? People are rushing around. People are always going from one thing to the next. With our phones and our tablets and our screens, we're always connected, we're always doing something. Watch people on public transport, they're always doing something. They're never, or really rarely, just sitting and staring out the window. We are connected, we are constant, we are always on the go. So many of us pride ourselves in that. You know, when you say, how are you doing? You say, oh, I'm busy. And it's kind of said almost with a badge of honor. And that's understandable because there is so much to do and there is so many different demands on our lives. But I wonder whether we miss God's influence when we're so busy. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know I talk about taking time out to be with God. And as youth workers and children's leaders and people who are trying to influence the next generations for the kingdom of God, we have to be careful that we are not getting caught up in the cycle of busyness. To help with this, I want us to reflect on Genesis chapter 18. It's partway through the story of Abraham and his wife Sarah. God has promised them that they will have the descendants to transform the world, as many as the stars in the sky, and yet they've not had a child. And Sarah is now past the age of being able to bear a child. And anyway, we read the story in chapter 18, verse 1. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre. I can't imagine. What does that look like? The Lord appeared to Abraham. What was Abraham doing? Well, they appeared to him while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, "If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way, now that you have come to your servant." "Very well," they answered, "do as you say." So here's Abraham. It's so hot. It's the hottest part of the day that he's just sitting in the entrance to his tent, getting a bit of shade, but you know how hot tents can be when the sun's out if you've ever been camping. So he's taking shade from the tent, but sitting in the breeze of the outside air. And what's he doing? He's just sitting. He's just watching. He's just taking time out. And the Lord appears to him. And it appears from the story. Don't know if you've ever wondered, but I often wonder, well, what does this actually look like? Well, Abraham looks up and sees 3 men. The Lord appears as 3 men, 3 angels maybe, standing nearby. And Abraham immediately thinks, I've got to help, I've got to serve, I've got to welcome. And I just wonder if Abraham had been busy, if Abraham had been tidying the tent, if Abraham had been preparing something, if Abraham had been having a meeting with others, might he have missed the Lord appearing to him? And what Abraham does is he does what we're told to do in Hebrews chapter 13, where we're told, do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. And I think that's exactly what's going on with Abraham. He's showing hospitality literally to angels. And you know, in our youth work, I wonder if we need to be better at equipping our young people for 2 things. One, being present in the moment, being aware of our senses, being aware of what's going on, being okay with just doing nothing and just observing what's going on around us. I wonder if we would see more of God at work if we actually stopped and looked. We're so busy doing stuff for him. We're so busy going on about our lives and so busy thinking of things to do that maybe, just maybe, we miss actually what he's doing because we're too busy. And then the second thing is, when was the last time you talked to young people about angels, about God showing up today? And maybe that we have entertained angels unaware. And wouldn't it be great to help young people to expect the supernatural, to expect God to show up, to expect him to send angels to help us, to surround us, to inspire us? I was on holiday in Wales last summer, and one of the weirdest things happened to me, that there were this two adults waiting, a man and a woman waiting to cross the road on a roundabout. And it was a roundabout which wasn't built up. It was kind of, easy to see in all four directions. And as I drove up, I thought, oh, they're waiting, I'll keep going. And I went straight over the roundabout. And as I looked in the rear view mirror, that couple had disappeared. And it wasn't like there was a shop they could disappear into. It wasn't like there was a tree that they could hide behind. It was a really open roundabout. And I can't help going, were those two angels? And then what were they doing? And why were they there? And why did I see them? Because we don't all see angels. I don't know if they were or what, but it makes me think, God, you could be there. You could be here. You could be doing something. And it's far more exciting to live with that kind of expectation to see God at work than just to shrug it off and don't be stupid, Andy. It's just two people. They must have, bent down to do their laces up or whatever you might expect. But it was one of those situations. It's like, actually, the only thing that makes sense was they were angels. But we laughed in the car when I shared it with my family because we don't expect it, but we should expect it. Let's raise up the next generation who are more on fire and more alive and more expecting to see God at work than perhaps our generations have been. Spend some time sitting at the entrance to your tent, and maybe God might show up today. Take time out and give him some space. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Go for it.